Hello, beautiful Heartlight. I'm so excited for you to be here today on another episode on my YouTube channel. Welcome back, and I'm so excited to get into it because I feel like what we're going to talk about today is going to be really powerful to help you become a more conscious, focused, aligned co-creator with yourself and the divine. Yes. My name is Kaylee, and I am the energy behind a divine dream. I am an Ascension coach. So essentially, I help people who are on their spiritual awakening journey understand and comprehend how their energy functions so that you can live a more soulfully embodied life with greater fun, play, joy, pleasure, all that from a sustainable place where you know how to focus so that you can create more of what you want and live your heaven on earth reality. So that's kind of a lot, but that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. So thank you for being here on this journey with me, and let's get right into it. So something that has been coming up for me lately, and this is sharing this, and my hope and intention is that it will help you just be a little bit more in alignment, especially as we're moving into the holiday season. We get asked to do a lot of things. We get requests from friends and family, sometimes even strangers, to fulfill an agreement, to fulfill a prayer that they're asking, that they're sending out, or a situation that they need help with. We're getting asked to do a lot of things. So really what is so helpful is understanding and knowing within yourself what feels like an inspired yes versus an obligated yes, and when to and how to say no when it's not for you. A beautiful, beautiful reframe that has helped me a lot with this is that we are all perfect parts of the whole. As a soul, anytime you have an ask, that you have a need or a desire that is wanting to be fulfilled, and you're sending that out, you are emitting that frequency. And this also includes when you're just asking other people, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, would you be interested in this? So as soon as we emit that frequency and that heart's prayer goes out, and we have this intention of like, okay, I want to do this thing, or I need to do this thing for whatever reason, I need help with this thing, I need to extend outwards and find someone to fulfill that role. However, the universe is already doing it. God, source, all there is already got your back, and it's already answered. In the quantum, as soon as you ask, it's received. So allowing yourself to know that you are a perfect part in this, and everyone else is too, is going to be so helpful, because when something's not for you genuinely and authentically, it means that it is for somebody else in the most perfect, beautiful way. So, a simple example of this can be maybe somebody wants you to, go shopping with them. They want help picking out an outfit, or, there's something that they're looking for, and they really want another person's opinion or ideas on what they're looking for. And you can feel in yourself, you're like, I could do this, but it's not an inspired yes. So if you say yes to this, you are actually taking away the opportunity for the perfect part to come in instead. And this is so powerful, because when it's not a yes for you, it will be a yes for someone else in that excitement. So if you can think of a time when you've actually been excited to do something, when somebody's asked you and you're just like, yes, I want to do that, or somebody needs help with something and you're just like, yeah, I can help with that. There's a different feeling. Now, sometimes you might feel neutral. You're just like, oh yeah, I could do that. Like, okay, yeah. Versus the excited yes. And then there's the contracted, like, oh, this is a no. And I need to assert myself and say no in a loving and kind way to open that door for this other person who's asking me to be redirected. If it's not me, it's someone else, and somebody else wants to fulfill that prayer, wants to come in, and they want to go on the shopping trip with the person. There's something for everybody in that experience. Even if you were to say yes, though, when it is a no, you are still learning. So there's no failed experience. It is just an opportunity to continue to learn more about what is for you and what isn't for you, and noticing those internal signals of what that feels like. So when we have an obligated energy of where you feel like, oh, I should do this. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but don't should on yourself. We're not into that. We are open to being curious about how we're feeling about something and becoming more present to those cues within ourselves. With that being said, there's something really powerful about knowing where you are at vibrationally when somebody is asking you something. So if you're in a bad mood and somebody's asking you something, vibrationally, you are more likely to be in resistance to an opportunity, to something that actually could be for you. However, in that moment, it's a no. But when we say no, when it is a no, it gives us space to discern what really is for us when we step away. So if you're experiencing something where somebody's asking you something, oh, can you take me to this doctor's appointment? Can you do this? Can you do this? If it feels like a contracted, you know what I'm talking about, that feeling of just that resistance. Ooh, here is something you can say to create space for yourself to go deeper, to feel if this actually is for you or if it truly is a no. And this is so important for people who have been people pleasers, where you are so used to self-abandoning to fulfill somebody else's, I keep saying ask, but that's the only word that's coming to me right now. When somebody's asking you something and you say yes because you want the other person to feel good and to be in that receiving energy. There's a lot of reasons why we people please and why we self-abandon, so I won't get into that in this video. That one's kind of a deep dive. It always is, right? Because anytime we're getting to know ourselves more, it's just opening up the book and looking at it and be like, oh, okay, I understand myself more, so I can actually be more aware of why I'm doing what I am doing when it's not in a preferred energy that feels aligned. And you know what that feels like. If you don't know, that's another video to make, where it's how do I start to, actually get to feel myself more so that I can make those choices and decisions more clearly from that place of soul knowing, soul feeling. But one thing that you can say to support yourself and create that space is, thank you for thinking of me. Let me get back to you on this. Thank you for asking me this. I really appreciate it. Let me get back to you. I will respond to you later tonight, later today. Just give me some time to look at my schedule, to know what I need to take care of so I can either say yes or no to this. So thank you for thinking of me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for asking, but I'm going to, give me some time to respond. Most people are going to be very open to that. There might be some people who kind of poke at you, be like, I need to know now. Unless it's an emergency situation, everything can wait. Everything can be given space. And even if that space is you, okay, give me a second, let me recenter myself real quick. Let me breathe into this. Let me feel this more deeply. and offering yourself and creating that space for yourself to then go deeper. So we've gone into a couple different things, but being able to go deeper with this is noticing, okay, what energy was I in when this person asked? Because we're always attracting. And when you're in maybe a lower frequency, being aware of what you're attracting when you're in that energy, because it's a reflection of you in that state at that time. However, when you shift your frequency and you shift your mood, you shift your vibe, you have a different vantage point to things. There's been so many times where at first I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this, but then like I shift my energy and I'm more open. I'm like, actually, now this sounds more fun. But I wouldn't have been able to know that about myself if I hadn't given myself space to feel the permission slip to say no, that it is okay to say no to things. You are a perfect part of the whole, and so is everybody else. Everybody else is just as loved as you are. God, source, all there is, loves all of us, loves all of this, and we are living love in motion. And we are all here to answer each other's prayers. It's so magical. It really is. We're all perfect parts. However, again, if you say yes to something that's not yours, you are taking away that experience for the person who it is the perfect match for. Now, nothing is ever missed in the grand scheme of creation. It's all just experiences. So give yourself so much grace as you are playing around with these concepts and playing around with noticing how you feel about things when somebody is asking you and you're like, yes, no, inspired yes, versus the obligated yes. Why do I feel obligated to say yes when it is a no? These are deeper things to ask ourselves so that we can really understand and get to know ourselves better, so we can be walking the path that we came here to walk. Every prayer is fulfilled. Every ask is answered. Everything is taken care of. So when you step into knowing and trusting that if it's not me, it's somebody else, and that other person is gonna love stepping in and stepping up to that opportunity that somebody else is offering in that exchange, in that co-creative space. It's so important to release this feeling of needing to say yes to everything just because somebody's asking you and they have this like need, right? Like you can feel that. And this is something where that people pleasing energy comes in, is like, if you're sensitive, which we all are to different varying degrees, you can actually feel the energy of the other person impressing in upon you and being like, will you fulfill this? Will you please? I need this. I need this. You can feel that energy. And being the loving being that you are, I'm sure initially you want to say yes because you want to alleviate that person's possible discomfort in them needing something. Or maybe there's a nervousness of their response, that if you say no, that you may receive an energy that you don't want to experience. And that goes deeper too, to building into your auric field and building into your inner resilience and holding the space and creating that field of love for yourself to witness other people's energy and not take it personally. Because if you have the intention of being a loving, kind person to the best of your ability, because we are human, we are souls in human form, but we still have, those slips in consciousness, and that is okay, where maybe you're not always your best, but what matters is how quickly can you come back into love? How quickly can you calm your nervous system, be present, and let it be okay if it feels uncomfortable when somebody reacts to your no. And I think that's like part of why people pleasers are born in a way too, because like the sensitivity can be so blown open when you're not aware of how energy functions, that you don't want to feel that. So it's like you want to just like, okay, let me fulfill this, but then you end up donut holing. If you're familiar with that phrase, it comes from a book, Leap of Perception by Penny Pierce. I highly, 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 highly recommend that book because it is so good. I feel like it's one of the best books that I've ever read on what it is like to shift from the older consciousness, like the 3D linear consciousness, to a holographic, spherical holographic consciousness, where you're living in the present moment and you're functioning from there, and how everything is here. And we just need to tend to our fields and like notice what's going on based off of our creation and our experience with that creation. But that's, a whole other story. Highly recommend that book. But there's a phrase in there that she calls donut holing. Sounds a little dirty, but it's from this perspective of like, you have your core energy. When you're in your core, you are filling up that circle or filling up that sphere. When you're donut holing, you leave your core and you're tending to things outside of yourself, but not from a place of that core, that seat, the seat of your soul, the embodied pillar of light that you are, where it can almost feel as though you're like moving away from being in your body to tend to things outside of yourself, versus staying in your energy and trusting that everything is fulfilled from that wholeness, that unity consciousness. You are a perfect part of the whole. Every prayer is answered. If it's not for you, it's for somebody else. Thank you for asking me. Let me get back to you, holding that space for the discomfort, leaning into it, being curious. That can also go into if you tend to get judgmental at all, or critical, lean into curiosity. How fast can you get back into curiosity and then into love and gratitude for the experience that you're having, because you're always gaining more information on how to become a more clarified, soul-embodied expression of yourself. So moving into the holiday season and just moving forward in your life, you're going to notice that. You're going to notice when things are for you and when things aren't for you. And then the internal struggle of being assertive in a loving way to say yes or to say no. And then trusting that it's all taken care of. The universe, God source, has got your back. And not just your back, but everybody's back. That's something that is just like, if you can really reframe and lean into that belief and allow that to be in the field of possibilities, magic and miracles happen because you open space for more pieces to come in magical, glorious ways that only higher self, God source, divine orchestration can allow and fulfill on our behalf. We are becoming more aware of how we're creating in this reality. And I do believe that eventually we will be able to hold that sphere of consciousness. But for right now, where we're at, we don't need to know all those pieces. We get to enjoy it. We get to understand, comprehend how to leverage this energy as we are practicing becoming more conscious creators with ourselves and then in interpersonal relationships with others. It all starts with you. It starts with your energy, noticing yourself. Because when you become more aware and more soulfully aligned in your life, living in that flow, following that feeling and that intuitive impression from within, you know what that feels like. You've had moments of it where you followed that. Then you've also had moments where you've said yes to things that you know weren't for you. And again, like I've also had experiences where like I said yes to things that I thought were a no for me, but then I'm able to shift and reframe the way that I'm thinking about something to allow for the experience to be even better and more beautiful. So let's kind of talk about that too. So let's say something's not for you. You kind of get that like no, but you say yes anyways. You just couldn't help yourself. You said yes. Now, take time to reframe into the most beautiful possibility that is there for you. Imagine, envision if this experience ends up being the highest, most beautiful experience that I can ever have. What would that be like? Because a lot of times too, what happens is we're actually like placing self-fulfilling prophecies onto things as well, which is why I say offer yourself some space to gain clarity on whether or not this is a true yes, or with whether or not this is a true no. Because you may be overlaying the fears and experiences of your past onto the future. We are present moment consciousness. The only way the past can move into the future with us is if we bring it with us. Now, that's kind of a statement because you're like, well, all the players are still the same. Not true. When you shift your consciousness, people respond differently to you. And a great way to kind of look at this too is like, notice when you're in a good mood and how people interact with you. Notice when you've been in a bad mood and how people interact with you. You evoke a different version of the people around you based off of your frequency. That's why some people, I have a relationship in my life where this person and I experience a third person vastly different. And you'll find this if you start looking for it in many relationships, where it's like I experience this person as like this like loving, very like responsible, very kind, like supportive person, and then my friend experiences this other person in a way that's like, whoa, like that, I don't get it because that's not how I experience them. And this gets into, frequency dynamics with people, like how our energies and frequencies interplay with each other and how we are actually aligning with different versions of people based off of what we are emitting ourselves. And a great way to kind of like look at this too is like there's a Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if it's Tolle or Tolle. I like to say Tolle. But his book, A New Earth, talks about the pain body. And I love that concept because it really gave me a sense of like, oh, that's what's going on. Is like, I was like, why is this so different? Like, why is this energy dynamic so different between me and people versus them and people? It's because we are interacting with the field of consciousness, with the field of divine creation, the game board, completely differently. And that is why you create your reality. We're all sharing this medium of creation. There's only one of us here. and we align and attune to what we experience and who we experience. Nothing is by accident. Now, again, a large statement, but when you start playing with energy, you start to really see these connections and you start to uncover like, oh, okay, if I am evoking this from this person or from this experience, what about me is aligning with that to some degree? And the way that I kind of see that is like there's like bandwidths of alignment where like reality is layered, but there's like, okay, maybe you have like, I feel like I'm gonna need to get like a drawing board eventually, but you have like this frequency bandwidth and there's like, it's like a layer that kind of overlays with other frequency bandwidths. So like if you're in the energy of like fear, you'll be in resonance slightly with other lower frequencies and energies. And that's why it's easy to spiral because you're amplifying more of that energy with your focus. Yeah. And that's why when we're connecting with others, like there's always a resonance. There's always a reason why you're connecting, or like somebody is coming into your sphere. But it might not be like the strongest resonance. It may be like within that frequency bandwidth. I hope that makes sense. I will try to explain that more in the future as well. Because understanding that is so helpful, to be like, oh, why am I connecting with these things? Because it's not always like a one-for-one relationship, like mirrored reflection. Sometimes we are witnesses to other experiences, like, and it kind of comes back to the answered prayer concept, where we are all answering each other's prayers. Because if you have a heart's prayer to help shine light, be of service, you will align with the perfect part and the perfect piece for you to fulfill that desire, which means you will be aligning with something that is possibly in a lower vibrational field, because your heart's prayer and intention that's emoting and emitting from you is to uplift. So that's another part of like, don't judge where you find yourself in the flow of life, because you are there for a reason. And if you can stay in that more like that positive, like, I am here to emit frequency, I am here to be a loving witness to everything and bring about the highest love, light, and good to any situation to the best of my ability. Because again, yes, grace, we're all human. Sometimes we get sucked into the drama and we go with it. We jump on that ride with everybody else. And it isn't until you get off the ride that you're like, I don't know if I would do that again. But you learned, you experienced it. So you have those codes to decode and recode. And that is something that's so important to know. So I talked about a lot of different things. And I hope that some of this information really helps you and sets you up for success moving forward in your life, and of course into the holiday season, because the more that we can align with what is ours to do and know that somebody else will step in. And also, this last piece that wants to come through is sometimes us saying no to somebody, if it's not us, it's somebody else. But if it's not somebody else, it is for that person to activate something within them to either learn a new skill, to step up into greater self-reliance and the ability to know that they are self-resourced, or that they just need to learn how to allow themselves to receive as well. Because if you are listening to this, you probably are very privy to like the law of attraction, and knowing that if you are in a state of like wanting, it's actually this energy of lack. And this like, I don't have it, I need it. It's like, like you are closed off to that receptivity. So if that sounds like you in any situation and you're like, oh man, that's why that thing hasn't come in yet. That's why. And you have to be very honest with yourself and do an energy audit, because you may have moments where you're like, yeah, I'm so excited. Like this thing's coming in. I'm manifesting this thing. I feel so good about this. But how often are you in that frequency? And this is something that I came across a while ago, it was like a meme that was talking about like, so like 5% of your day, you're in the energy of that which you want, which quantumly is drawing it to you. You're in that state of gratitude, you're affirming it, you're feeling it, you're tapping into it, you're feeling it through your body, you're encoding the frequency. But then what's the rest of the day like? What's the 95% rest of the day like? Frustration, contraction, like getting caught up in dramas, and there's so many moments where we can just look at how our energy has been and catch it, come back into love, come back into your power, come back into your inner knowing of, okay. So, but stepping into gratitude allowing yourself to feel that and encode that energy where I have received it. I'm so excited, God Source, for how you have brought this into my life. I can feel it. It's right here, and I'm so excited. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And even feeling what it feels like to be on the other side of that prayer answered. Be like, okay, I'm in this energy, I'm in this frequency, and I know it comes. I know it's here, and I know I have already received it on some level of my being, and it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of being in communion and asking. Like, ask. It's good to ask, but it's also, if you're the one asking for something, be ready for the no and honor it. Say, thank you for saying no. I appreciate it. I know I'm going to find the right person. I know the right piece of this puzzle is coming in. Like, I am a powerful, powerful, magnetizing, sovereign creator in this field, and I am so loved and beloved by the divine, and all of my dreams and desires, they want to come to fruition because I am just so loved, and this is meant to be a beautiful experience, and I'm so excited to allow for more of my expressions to come forward. So I kind of got a little excited there, but yeah, so there's a lot of different pieces to this, but it does come back to the core of who you are, the core of knowing yourself, knowing what it feels like, and knowing what your pitfalls are, right? Because if you know, like I was talking about earlier, that you are a people pleaser, you got to fortify your energy and be like, okay, I'm committing to saying yes to what's authentically aligned and saying no to what's not. And I'm committed to letting it be okay that it's going to probably feel uncomfortable. We don't want to assume, because you never know when you start shifting your energy how you're going to experience life. You never know. You will build into greater relationships that are respectful and honor the fact that you're saying no, and are going to be happy for you that you said no, because there's going to be times that they need to say no, and they want to know that their no is honored. I love it when people cancel plans on me because, well, I'm a little introverted, but also because I love that people feel good and confident enough to do what's best for them, because I trust that it's all going to align the way that it needs to, and in the perfect resonance. It's all happening for you in the highest love, light, and good. Highest timeline for all, baby. Highest timeline for all. We are the gatekeepers of the highest timeline for all. Gatekeepers are, we're pillaring that light, and we are anchoring in that highest timeline for ourselves, and knowing that as we step into that highest timeline by honoring our yes and no, we are allowing other people to witness what that looks like in action. That embodied soul energy, because when you're saying yes to more of what you want, you will build into your life force energy. You are building into what you came here to do, and I want to see you do it. I want to see you live your best life. I want to see you live in health, wealth, vibrancy on every level of your being, and that's what we came here to do. And we can do it. That's the cool thing, is like, of course, the parts of yourself that are still unaware are still playing out, and they are still experiencing what they need to experience. It is you. But we have geometries. We have, limiting beliefs and agreements that we've taken on to function through in this life. And then it gets to a point where you become aware of it, and you get to discern, do I want to keep this pattern, or do I want to redesign it into something that is more soulfully aligned? I feel like that's my phrase today, soulfully aligned. That is more soulfully aligned, so that more of the authentic soul light that I am can express through this form easily, effortlessly, joyfully, co-creatively, in this expansive state of just continued expression and continued exploration of what we are capable of doing and experiencing. I feel like I said a lot of words repeatedly there, but I really, to get to get that energy really anchored in. Yeah, is there anything else that wants to come through? I think that's good. So yeah, if you hung on this long, I'm so grateful, and I'm so excited to continue to share content. And if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I would love to answer some questions. I am also a channel. I channel my higher self, my soul's light, and I have like my counsel. So it's like, hey, I'm here to answer some questions and bring through some frequency to help others develop greater understanding of how to best live in their soul's expression and do it very easily. My thing's always ease and joy, because there's so many things that are uncomfortable, that are very treacherous to experience and gut-wrenching, right? But once you become more aware, you get to guide into greater heaven on earth experiences for yourself and live that soul heaven on earth reality. So that's what I'm here to create, and that's what I'm here to anchor through with you. I'm so excited that you're here. Again, drop a question. Follow me on Instagram, A Divine Dream, and check out my website, adivinedream.com. And I look forward to connecting with you more in the future. And I just want you to know that you are doing a fabulous job. You're doing great. Just allow yourself to honor and be grateful for where you are, because it is a perfect part of your path. And just know that you have the ability to make beautiful, beautiful changes in your life just by being you, by being more of you, by being more of that really loving, that liquid love energy that your soul is, that wants to come through, that is coming through. It's here, and it's here for all of us. We get to experience and express this way. It's safe now to do this because we know more. And it's so beautiful to be here with you. So I really appreciate your time. Oh, and if you did get this far, drop let's see, that crystal ball emoji, drop that down in the comments too. And for, I will be doing an offering in the future. So the first 7 people to drop the crystal ball emoji, if you've listened all the way through, are going to receive a free gift. So super excited. Oh, and also there's a link down if you want to join my email list as well for just beautiful, energy, frequency transmissions. So excited to connect with you deeper. So have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day, night, wherever you are, whenever you are watching this in time and space. You are right on time. You are perfectly on time, and you are perfectly in time. All right, take care.